it's JT, the Fire Pit guy. Welcome back. This to episode 2 of the Finnish Fire Pit. Today I'm hanging out in the Rocky Mountains. We're getting a little snow up here for some early spring action. If you remember last time, we talked a lot about gas line considerations and what you need to worry about before you even start your project. Today, the boys over from Designer Dirt have been busy at Yuri's project, and we'll get a little further into that. They've been digging some gas line trenches and actually started building the fire pit. So we'll show you the progress that they've made. So in the meantime, sit back. Thank you. If you remember the last episode, we had the trench dug and the line buried, and you can see where it kind of comes out right in the middle of the fire pit there. So we'll now see kind of where they were able to take that next step. Here's a nice overhead shot of the progress that they've been making. So you can see the fire pit kind of in this area here, and they've done quite a bit of cement work in there. So you can see this area here is actually so you have a nice firm base for the pavers. These cinder blocks that they're going to lay around that other area that'll actually be the inside of the fire pit. That's this area here. So and then you can actually see right over here, that's where the stub out for the gas line is. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see where that is. And then here's that drain that they put in, and there's the drain line. It's going to run all the way. You can kind of see them working on that all the way out into the yard, so that when we'll look at it in a little more detail when we see the inside of the fire pit. Okay, here's a little different angle for that same shot that we just looked at from overhead, but you can see the stub out for the gas line. You see the drain they also built in there, and you can see the pavers or the cinder blocks kind of sitting around there. Okay, so now you can see they've actually added all the cinder block around and mortared that, and you can see there's the gas stub out that we saw in the last picture, and here's that conduit that's going to be the drain. They'll put a little drain cover over that, and that'll sit down below the burner and all the rocks and everything else, so that when it rains or snows, and it's super important that you be able to get water out of that fire pit. And actually you can see over here as well, that's where that conduit kind of runs. So the water the cement is sloped so that the water goes into the drain, and then it drains out the other side and kind of goes out into the yard. I imagine they've got some kind of French drain with some holes so that it drains out into the yard and doesn't pool back into here. But if you didn't have that, you get water pooling in that area, and you'd get mosquitoes growing in there, or it'd just be a huge kind of stinky mess. So it's super important when you build your fire pit to take into account that the water that goes in there needs to be able to get out. Here's a little larger shot of the last picture that we just looked at. Okay, you can see in this shot, it's kind of gives you a little bit more context on where the fire pit is in relation to the house, and you can see that they've done a lot of work here with the tamper machine to make sure that that's all firm ground and it's all flat. And they've added, you can see this gray kind of stone all around in here, and that's road base that they've put down, and they compact that, and then they'll put some sand on top of that before they'll start laying pavers. But you can see the fire pit in relation to where it is, and you'll be able to put kind of chairs all around that fire pit for seating and whatnot. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 2 of the Finnish Fire Pit. In the next episode, we'll check in on the landscapers, Designer Dirt, as they start some more of the finish work, maybe the pavers, the finish around the fire pit, as well as possibly getting into the actual plumbing of the fire pit, the guts, the burner, and all those kind of things. Until then, you know what to do. Spark your flame, share your stoke. Take care.